know that team's down there, right? I also know there's like 5 or 6 guys in this lobby, desperate for just a hint of love.
Give 'em the love tonight. Give 'em the love tonight.
That song earlier, did you make that up? I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, I just made it up.
It's great.
What was it again?
Something about tonight, but it felt like,
Well, I can't remember the tone. Maybe you can remind me.
na, 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 na. Kind of like that.
Give 'em the love tonight. 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 Listen up, I don't wanna fight anymore, and I'd like to lose the one thing worth fighting for. Don't wanna live forever, no more, no more. Don't wanna live forever.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Overwatch All-Stars Brawl 3, a double elimination bracket brought to you by Star Esports, dedicated to the Tier 3 community of Overwatch. And today we have HAWT versus Team 2. We're right now in the lower bracket, match number 8, and, it's looking a little scary out there. Today, I am joined by my co-caster, Got Moxie. Got Moxie, what's up?
Well, hi Zach, lovely to cast with you as always. And yeah, it's looking a little bit spooky, the month of October, people like to kind of give us a fright, and these two teams, the loser is definitely going to be in for one of that, because it being the losers bracket, whoever loses today is going to be going out of this competition, no second chances.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, the teams, there's got to be a little bit of anxiety going on right now, because like you said, if they lose this match, they're out of the tournament completely, and being in this lower bracket, one team's always going to be coming off a loss, meanwhile the other one off a win, so you really got to be careful about that. And also, before we get too far into it, a big thanks to Babo Costanza, if I pronounce it, I hope I pronounced that right, for the tier 1 sub. We really do appreciate here at Star Esports, any type of encouragement and support for this tier 3 community. It means a lot. We really do appreciate it.
It's always nice to see people support tier 3. A lot of people say, oh yeah, you need to support tier 2, and tier 3 is just kind of left a little bit forgotten. Like the family children, you've got the eldest one who's the prize winner, the middle child who kind of gets a little bit of love, and then just the youngest one sitting over there with like a hand up being like, I exist too.
What? I have a different issue. My little brother gets all the, or my younger brother, I should say, would get all the attention. And then my sister would, okay, whatever. You don't need to know about my personal life. What is going on here anyways? So, I mean, going into this match, we're going to start off on Nepal. Team 2, going to be the ones coming out of that upper bracket as of recently. HAWT just got a win. So, of course, they're going to be advancing farther. And, you know, mentality is something I think players sometimes can struggle with. But so far, I think every time I've seen a team go through something like an 0-3 or maybe a 2-3 even, that normally it doesn't really affect their mentality too much. They really stick to it, and it doesn't seem to affect their aim too much. And I think they are able to keep themselves in the right mind space, but I don't really know exactly what goes on behind the scenes. You know, it's just something you got to kind of guess on.
I mean, if you get 3-0'd, it's always that uncomfortable gnawing feeling in the bottom of your stomach, but sometimes you just want to kind of come back and prove to everybody that you're not the team who's just going to get absolutely rolled in the tournament. You're out with something to prove, and everybody likes an underdog. Pozak, you know, everyone.
Yeah, underdogs are pretty fun to watch, you know what I mean? When it comes to anything, whether it may have been Shanghai going like 0-43 until they finally got their first win, and you know everybody's happy, they're freaking out. Why? It's because you just love to see someone who just has really just been down in the dumps for a long time just kind of rise up to the top eventually. And they even made it all the way, I think stage 3 it was. They were able to take that or was it stage 3 or was it stage 2? I think it was actually stage 2. They were able to take that stages finals, and you know, I mean, that's just something you love to see. You love to see people rise from the dirt and just completely pop off.
Well, we'll be watching one team rise from the dirt certainly today. The other one gonna be a little bit buried 6 feet under Pozak. I'm gonna be really interested to see which exactly team that's gonna be, and especially now that we've got a new patch, new nerfs, new buffs, possibly new team compositions.
I mean, possibly, you know, I mean, it just came out too recently, so maybe there hasn't been too much time to kind of really expand beyond that and test a lot of things out. But I think that you can definitely see maybe a little bit of variations in these different comps. I mean, dive is something that got a little bit of buffs to that sort of composition, though you don't really see it too often still. It may need a little bit more tweaking if it wants to become the more top meta pick. But right now, we're going to probably be sticking to that double shield.
Yeah, but what we're really seeing right now in these kind of tournaments is this double shield meta kind of being dismantled a little bit by the pharmacy, which is coming out of the gates really strong at the moment.
Yeah, and like we were talking about before the cast, the Far Mercy just has so much strength when it comes to the double shield, because that Sigma barrier now on that 1 second cooldown, you know, got to consistently be moving that to keep the Pharah out of the air and make sure that they're not able to put in any damage, because not only are you going to be blocking the Pharah shot, they also usually have a Mercy on them, so you're pretty much negating 2 players to try to make it more of a 6v4, maybe a 5v4 if the Sigma's really hard focusing that Pharah down to make sure that none of the rockets are coming through. But now with that 1 second, it makes it a little bit harder, and especially with Risa as well, the additional second on her barrier to recharge, it makes it really difficult to really understand what's your perfect use of shield, and sometimes you're kind of just picking the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah, well, we're going to see a little bit of a wacky composition coming out from ICEE. We're going to have this combination of this Orisa with the Hammond, so not this double barrier.
Yeah, no, I think the Hammond can actually be really good, because if they go in from underneath, I mean, they're probably going to be able to move somebody off. But right now, I want to be the first person down. Hammond now just coming through here. I mean, already having the advantage is pretty good. Right now, it's just kind of taking more and more time, but T-Time able to actually pick up someone else as well. Micro gets a boop off on a Nick, but speaking of boosts, Magic 8 Ball coming in, getting 3 off the edge with just 1 boop.
Yeah, anything you can do, I can do better, but the kills are still going the way of ICEE, who still have this person on the point.
Yeah, and right now, it's just slowly going more and more over to the side. Nice hop, but right now, it looks like Wannabe's going to be able to take out Dad, so maybe Team 2 is going to be able to actually come back in here and take it over. Right now, though, it's looking a little bit slow, but they actually managed to pick up 2 people. Micro and T-Time. Coalescence is out, though, so it's going to provide a lot more healing and damage for that side. But right now, they're just kind of running on the point to make sure Raid just try to stall it out a little.
That was such a scrappy first fight, and if anything, that really does show us what a show we're in for tonight, Pulse. Like, the point only just gets unlocked, and already we've got ultimates built up for both of these teams across the board. Simplistic managed to put that Coalescence in, and already 58% to the next one.
Yeah, and right now, it looks like they're just kind of running up, going straight over to the point. You can see the Wannabe is over in the left side all by himself. T-Time, though, able to get another pick right off the bat. Simplistic now down. A Moira gone is a very big deal. Meteor Strike coming in and takes out the shield. T-Time just running right up there with his Blossom, but the Sigma ult comes out. T-Time's down. Hoonman's down, Micro's down, PG1 picking them off. Now it's just the Hammond left on this point, and well, guess what? It's gonna stay in favor of Team 2.
Yeah, ICEE tried to collapse onto all of Team 2 after they know that Moira's gone down, because only having a Lucio means that you have almost no sustainer on that point, but they just simply can't manage to confirm the kills, and Team 2, they managed to crack the puzzle that ICEE just are a little bit struggling with, but Dad does have these mines which could be just put onto point and just go for area denial so that Team 2 can't get that contest going.
Yeah, right now they got to be worried about sustain because they don't have a Sigma. Instead, the Hammond, it makes it really difficult. And right now, it looks like Devil might be getting caught out. He gets really low, but fortunately, he's able to get healed up just in time. The mines are coming out. Micro able to get a boop off on a Nick. That's going to be hard. You don't have your main now to help you out. Want to be able to pick up 2 EMP and a Hoonman. Now down. Looks like also a little bit of a damage orb coming through, getting T-time. Micro's down too, so... Wow, it's just going back over to the side of Team 2. It feels like when they go in here for the side of ICEE, it's just kind of, they maybe get the first pick and then it's just downhill.
Yeah, they get the first kill and then they sort of don't know how exactly to proceed, which is something not a lot of teams struggle with, but the Hammond is actually going to make a very late swap off onto the Sigma. Doesn't manage to get the eat onto the Blizzard.
Yeah, but the Blizzard does come out though. Want to be able to take out Dad. But now 2 people are over onto the point for ICEE right now, so they're able to put in a little bit of the contest, but still, all the kills, of course, are going on the side of Team 2. You're split like that, it's going to be really hard to keep anything up. And Human just trying to do whatever he can. He gets taken out, though. Raid now taken out next. Back on that Hammond. Here comes Dad, jumping into the point. But the bomb goes out, so that's a lot of damage. So you're probably not going to be able to survive long, which was showcased right there.
That Hammond and Orisa composition just wasn't looking so hot for ICEE. Pardon the pun, for Zach. But they stuck with it for a little bit too long. Yeah, maybe you can get some value on the Hammond with the surprise factor, get in, let the Hammond go on that under tunnel, try and get a couple of knocks off, but then when you're coming in for the next engagement, the enemy, they're already anticipating it, and with the Sigma who can just rock the hamster, and with the Orisa who can just pull him, and the Lucio who can boop, there's just too much CC to be able to kind of run this knowing what the enemy are going to be in for.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, with the Hammond, you do try to want to go for those boops, and you know, we kind of saw them try to do that. Micro and Magic 8 Ball, though, were kind of more able to do that. But T-Time was always seeming to get like a first pick here and there, so kind of surprised that they weren't able to build off that. And also, thanks to Sleepy for the Prime sub. That's on a 2-month streak. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Oh, pause, like you were talking to me a little bit earlier. One of these teams running, both of these teams actually going to be running this May, and you said, you confessed that you didn't want to see one of them run it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it was really just because they were up against the Doomfist, and it didn't seem like they were able to use that wall to kind of like prevent the Doomfist from doing anything. The Doomfist just kind of went in there. But right now we can see that the teams right now are very even. Devil going low, though. Wannabe also going low. Everybody's getting low on both sides. T-Time able to get that first pick. 2 picks now, but we've seen that no matter what, the fight can still change. But right now, down 3. Dad, please. Getting that accretion on a Wannabe is going to make it really hard. T-Time now actually picking up, I think that's a 3 or 4K right there. Oh, well, it's definitely at least a 4K now. Taking out Simplistic there, so pretty good.
Both of these teams are looking very scrappy when it comes to getting that first point tick starting on their side. We're seeing ultimates build up across the board for both of these teams. So once again, Raid and Simplistic both going to have those coalescences, the double-edged sword, trying to keep that team up and the enemy down. PGI is actually a little bit closer to his flux, so if he can get that online before Dad, that's going to give his team a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, right now the wall comes out, actually separating a little bit of the team from each other, but it's not going to really do too much. They're just going to back up a little bit. PG1, though, frozen. Is he going to decide to use that ultimate? Yes, he is. Here it goes. It's coming out, but you see the sound barrier also come out from Micro, and it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a couple ultimates coming out here. We got Blizzard. We got the Die, Death Blossom, but it looks like Devil's the only one making people die, sending them straight to where he lives. Magic 8 Ball, want to be simplistic. Everybody's just picking up kills now. Let's just take turns.
Some bloodthirsty supports both Simplistic and Magic 8 Ball. He does have the sound barrier up, ready to cancel out the Sigma Flux that is surely going to be coming out from Dad in this next engagement when he manages to get it up. However, Unhuman does have this Blizzard, so what do you use this beat for? Do you try and negate the damage coming from the Sigma, or do you put it in when your team's caught up in that Blizzard?
Yeah, I know. It's got to be a really tough one to call there. I think it's just going to be seeing what happens with the first one coming out and how many people really get stuck in it. They put up the wall there to try to get a little bit of ground probably, but a counter wall has also been put up so that way they'd have to funnel through. Right now, T-Time just trying to go in from the left side. Just a little bit of poke right now. Nothing too much major happening except for this Bongo being down right now, but they're waiting it out. EMF is going to get it pretty soon here too. But on the other side of the wall, there's Devil. Devil's stuck, nowhere to go. EMF able to pick up the kill onto him. The Blizzard now also out. Not really going to see many kills coming from that just yet, but Dad down. And now you can see everybody from Team 2 starting to go down slowly, one by one. PG1, Wannabe, Simplistic, Nick, everybody's going down right now. Right now it's just Magic Maple doing what he can to just stall a little bit longer, just try to grab a little bit more percentage before they have to regroup.
You have to give it to Magic Maple. His team does go down, but this Lucio is still holding on to this beat. Perhaps could have thrown it in to the team to save him from all of that damage coming in, but now he is going to have it up and online for when ICEE try to keep hold of this point with the ultimates that they have.
Yeah, and I mean, with that many ultimates, it's going to be really hard to do so. Not only do you have that Bongo, but Death Blossom and Sigma ult. It's a lot of damage to try to get through. They're going to put up the wall here. The Coalescence comes out from both sides. First was from Simplistic, but speaking of Simplistic, gets taken out by Dad. So
Yeah,
now
and if you're
running really low.
If you're Team 2, you just try and disengage. You've lost your main healer, you've only got a Lucio. You're going to try and get out as fast and painlessly as possible, but we're seeing HAWT that's kind of a go sign, and they're all just swarming onto the survivors of Team 2.
Yeah, and like you said, they got to hurry up and regroup. They're coming to last fight territory. About 85% already yielded up there for them. So they're going to have to try to get in here fast. I think they might want to just engage with that barrier. That's all they're probably going to have unless PG1's going to be able to get his ultimate, which he is very close to pretty soon. But with the percentage now down to 5% left, they got to hurry up and get in there.
Yeah, and they waited just a little bit too long because Micro is going to have the Sign Barrier up and online for when this contest comes in. There's going to be so much sustain on the side of ICEE.
Yeah, right now Sigma ult the barrier. Death Blossom coming through, want to be able to pick up Dad. Also EMF, that's both tanks down. Magic Ball somehow manages to find tea time. And a human also taking out by PG1. It looks like they're actually going to be able to flip this now with what I thought was going to be a really hard fight. They managed to use that sound barrier in the best way possible.
Not just that, but Nick managed to get that wall off to separate both of the supports on the side of ICEE, which means that Micro can't get the beat off because you need that line of sight, and that Maywall is going to be blocking it, so you're not going to try and ult when you know that your team isn't going to get caught up in it. And Dad actually, he put the Sigma Flux in as he went down, so that's an ultimate that they're not going to have, which Team 2, they've got one of their own in their pocket.
Yeah, but they're going to pull really quick. Walls actually stack on top of each other as they're trying to engage here on the point. Simplistic taking out Micro there. Losing your Lucio really early in the fight is not going to serve you well. That speed boost can be really beneficial in fights like these. They're going to decide that they have to keep going in on it. Tea time's down now too. They're just trying to back up. They don't have much time left. Last fight territory here. They're going to possibly be able to pick up the second round unless they're going to be able to come in here. They're going to have their Mei ult, their Lucio ult, and that's about it.
Yeah, well, disaster falls as that Lucio goes down in the earliest bit of the fight. They're just going to use that beat to try and get on this point and onto the contest bar.
Yeah, both Blizzards, though, coming through here. The Bongo's out, but it looks like all the kills are going on the side of Team 2 right now. Dad, EMF, and Tea Time all taken out here. The Bongo providing so much of that damage buff. Not a single person, actually, from Team 2 falls. And just an absolute massacre of a last fight there to keep that round win for them. And now the map.
It looked so close in those engagements, but a couple of clever picks off. You get the Lucio out of the fight when you know that he's got Sign Barrier up. You get the Moira out of the fight early so that you take out that main source of support. But you really do see this kind of collapse onto supports for both of these two teams, so they really do know, cut off the legs, the body will fall with it.
Yeah, both teams, honestly, I mean, Team 2's kind of seemed a lot more coordinated, but to be fair, the first round wasn't really that close. I think mainly because they had that Hammond. But, I mean, Tea Time just always seems to be going in and getting them first picks, so I think it's just really they need to just more engage on those when that happens.
Yeah, they need to capitalize on this go sign that really is Tea Time's picks, because you do see that in most engagements, teams that have that advantage in numbers, the 5 versus 6 fight, they come out of it the victor, and that just simply doesn't happen for HAWT.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if that's just maybe there's something going on where maybe not everybody's focusing the same target, so it takes it a little bit longer. Maybe Team 2 is all focused on the same target, so then they're able to make the fight more even, and then just through the process of them randomly shooting at someone in no particular order, that Team 2 is all focusing the same person, so they're just going to get whittled down quicker. I think maybe that could be what's going on, but not 100% sure unless we're able to hear those comms, which we aren't, so...
No, sadly we're not Overwatch League, poor Zach. We don't get the comm checks to be finding out what exactly is being said, because I don't know, some of it might not be PG friendly. But I thought they're not quite out of this competition yet. They managed to kind of claw it back a little bit closer in that second part of Nepal, where they did make it to, I think it was it 99 or yeah, 99 to 19 to 100. So yeah. They do still have a chance to take this back from Team 2.
Yeah, and I mean, when it came to the mirror compositions, they both looked equally good on them. Like you said, got to 99, 100. So, I mean, being super close in team fights like that, you know, something on King of the Hill maps where it's the most vanilla version of Overwatch you can really find, I mean, that's kind of sets the tone. So I think right now, while that first round of Nepal didn't go too well, that it's still going to be a pretty close matchup here. And right now it looks like we're probably going to be going to Temple. Okay, we're going to Temple.
Yeah, we're going to be going to Temple, and I'm going to be unsurprised if we see from ICEE this Arista Sigma. Both of these teams not really wanting to deviate from what was so strong before, maybe not quite as strong now, but when you're running it into Mirror, both the teams have those nerfs now hitting them, so you're on an equal footing.
Yeah, and I mean, it just kind of always happens in these mirror compositions where someone really stands out. One team just maybe has a little bit better of the comms, so they're able to just clean up fights quicker, or maybe another team has more of single player mechanical skills, so that the whole team is just kind of popping off just purely through skill and they don't really need comms too much. But when it really comes down to it, I mean, you might just want to change things up a little bit, like how earlier we talked about armor. I mean, that could be something you try to run here on the first point of Anubis. You just got to kind of be careful of like a sniper maybe, and even if they did have a sniper, then you could just hurry up, switch back, and then you wouldn't really have to worry about it too much if you're playing the double shield. So kind of a risky play if you want to try to do that on the defense and run a sniper. I don't really recommend it, but hey, you're good. They're good.
Well, the risk is if you run a sniper on defense and the attack is either field or pharmacy or see the sniper and then swap, you're left with a sniper shooting into double barriers without a pharmacy to shoot at, and so you are sort of a little bit not quite useless to your team, but certainly getting there.
Yeah, you're providing a little bit of damage, but you're not really going to be able to do much until maybe that Doomfist tries to push through, and then you have to make sure that your shots are pretty precise, because it's just a quick in and out with a Doomfist. You know, he's not going to be there too long. He's not going to be sitting there drinking tea with his friends. No, he's getting in there, quick punch, get out.
I mean, I think that would make it more equal to anyone. If when the Doomfist comes in, he has to play a sort of musical statues and stand still for 5 seconds, and then if he doesn't get shot, he gets to get the pick off. I feel like that would be fair.
Yeah, that totally sounds fair. Anyways, but right now it looks like on the defense they're gonna be running that just standard double shield. They're gonna be running the Mei still. They really seem to prefer this Mei. It did really well last time, I guess, when you think about it, because the mirror matchup, Nick was definitely putting out good walls, but I mean, arguably so was I think it was not tea time. It was Unhuman that was on the Mei, I think. Yeah. And I mean, they were equally putting out good walls. So what they're going to want to decide to do here with the Mei, maybe as soon as they start pushing into the right, they either wall it off and then get the people who are off on the left or over on the right, or maybe they just try to stop it all together and get a little bit of poke damage.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the separate and divide. Just make sure that you can kind of have that advantage in numbers, not just because someone's gone down, but just force it out of the opposite team. So the Sigma does manage to get in, and there is the wall. But there isn't really any follow-up. None of them are going to deviate from this high ground to go and collapse on that Sigma.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be really hard to try to go in there on the Sigma anyways, because since they're all on the high ground, and it wasn't really that big of a deal to try to get that one Sigma over there, you know, it made it really hard. But right now, I mean, just jumping on in there tea time with the teleport, a little bit of abilities are coming out here every now and then, it looks like. But no kills just coming out just yet. No one really low either. Magic Maypal, though, speaking of low, is going to get there. But Simplistic and Dad, both very low, all to the point of 0. Nick also getting picked off. Big's now just kind of going side to side here. The Coalescence, though, fast coming out from Raid here is probably going to be what cleans up this fight. Devil taken out now, losing both of those tanks is going to be a real detriment. Last one on the point now, though. PG1 not going to really be able to do much. Magic Maypal was thinking about going in there for a quick contest, but it was just kind of like, is it really worth it? Probably not.
Probably not, indeed. So that's going to be a very fast point take on Anubis A for ICEE, who are looking a lot speedier than they were on Nepal. They're going to be moving on to that try and grab that point B. They don't have any ultimates to try and swing it their way, and Wannabe does have Staff Blossom to throw in when those teams approach. So he's probably going to be looking to sneak that one around, but he is actually just playing with his team, not looking for any sort of high ground approach at the moment.
Yeah, but he's just running right on in there. Wannabe gotta hurry up and back out using that Wraith form. And just taking this slow engage right now. The Bongo and Coalescence comes out, though. Probably not going to be a win here for ICEE. But you also see the Death Blossom come out. A Meteor Strike goes through. Devil and PG1 are able to get 2 kills. Dad goes down to himself. Nick also getting killed. PG1, quick little melee onto the Lucio there. That Bongo really providing a lot of damage there to completely stop that.
Yeah, ICEE had pushed in, so they weren't able to get out of the fight. As we see so many teams try and disengage when those supercharges come down, they just don't want to take the fight with the damage. But unfortunately, ICEE, they're locked in, they can't get out, and now they're going to be sent back to spawn. They are going to have Raid to try and open this up with the Coalescence, and Dad is approaching the Sigma Flux, so it's going to be all hands on deck to try and pull this sound barrier like teeth out of a dentist's appointment to get this sound barrier out of this Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, the sound barrier is both sound barriers are going to be the make or break of this fight here, depending on who uses it first and what the abilities were that decided to use it on. But right now, getting super aggressive here. The wall goes up. They're trying to push up a little bit, but now they have to back off. They don't have that shield quite yet. They're using the sound barrier as a little bit more of an offensive tool. The Blizzard comes down, but so does the Sigma ult, landing them right into it. Devil, PG1, everybody now getting kills. Looks like ICEE is going to have to go back, rethink their strategy.
Yeah, the Lucio unfortunately sound barrier is just a little bit too early, and the Sigma jumps upon that opportunity, doesn't get the beat off when they're all up in the ground, actually gets the beat off just a little bit before, and so that armor has essentially just kind of degraded away by the time they hit the ground in that seismic slam. Magic Maple has been holding on to his though. He's done so well, kept a hold of it all the way through that fight, and so when Dad decides to put the Sigma Flux in, it's gonna be essentially cancelled out unless they can manage to pull it from this Lucio.
Yeah, and right now they just keep coming in from this left side, which is really good. It provides you a lot of natural map-based cover, so that we don't have to take too much damage when you're first coming in here. The shield war is coming out, Coalescence from both sides, but Nick is taken down early by Inhuman. It looks like the Flux is also going to come out. Everybody really stuck in that. Of course, Magic Mayball was ready with it, but the Blossom comes through, is able to pick up Simplistic and Devil. Everyone right now, no one's quite able to be there on the point. Nick is just kind of running his way over to the right. He just wants to get there with a little bit of time to spare. The wall comes up. But Micro actually pushes out, gets the boop, and stops him from getting onto the point with 3:13. Pretty impressive time, Bang.
Definitely impressive, especially when you consider that you are actually up against a couple of Saga heroes. The Mei can be such an annoyance trying to dislodge her off that point if she gets that wall up in the corner and then ice blocks, and so it's a really nice boop to make sure that ICEE don't have to deal with, say, losing 1 minute off their time bank to the stagger picks because that defender spawn is so annoyingly close to that point.
Yeah, especially on the Mei where you're able to just sit in this little ice cube for like 3 seconds and they can't do anything about it except have to just sit there and watch. Like,
I mean, we talked about the Doomfist like sipping a martini and not being shot, but the Mei is most definitely doing that in her ice block, just watching the world go by and cackling as everyone tries fruitlessly to break into that prison.
Yeah, and I mean, you really got to be careful because, like you said, that defender spawn is so close. The chances of them just coming back in and getting the 2 CP curse onto them where it's like, oh, they got super close, but one person was on the point for like 5 extra seconds, so they completely stopped the whole push, you know? I mean, it happens. Unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah, it happens definitely most of all on either Anubis, Horizon, and, my goodness, Paris. The map that shall not be named. But it's gonna be wannabe toying with the idea of this Widowmaker, either just to try and get that initial pick off, grapple up onto the spawn ship, and maybe land a bullet in the head of Raid or Micro. If you can do that, that is the absolute sweet spot for your team. Or it could just be a little bit of a bait, and they're gonna swap off to say that the Reaper or the Doomfist.
Yeah, right now it looks like they're probably on top of like the boxes or they're in spawn. I can't tell quite which. It looks like they're probably gonna switch though here over to Reaper. And now, I mean, we see that little bit of a difference here in the compositions.
Yeah, they're gonna run with Nick on this Mei to just make sure that ICEE's line of vision is actually just completely obscured so they can get all into this room and then approach a little bit of a similar approach the way that they came in from their attack.
Yeah, and the pull comes through there. Everybody getting a little bit aggressive. Simplistic and PG1, though, both very low. Wannabe now following suit, also getting low. You gotta be really careful. The shields are almost broken here. The Sigma is just that. He uses the Flux to try to, or Kinetic Grasp, rather, to try to stop some of that damage from coming through. And when you really get stuck in this health pack room, it can be a pain to really get out of there. You just got to try to make something happen. And speaking of making something happen, getting a Coalescence really fast there in the fight is something that can definitely help make things happen. Inhuman is very low, and so is Micro. Emph is taken out super fast there, but Nick also taken out, answered by Dad. Micro now gone. You're going to really want that speed boost right about now, going into that point. But I don't think they're going to be able to get it back right now. It looks like they're just playing on high ground, not getting too aggressive here. Now they're going to decide to drop over to the point. It looks like the rock came through. Not much else really going on except Wannabe taking out Inhuman. The Flux comes through, not really able to pick anybody up, though. And it looks like it's just slowly going more and more into Team 2's favor here now that the fight's been drawn out a little bit longer.
Yeah, Simplistic got lucky, managed to have that fade up so doesn't get picked up in the grasp of gravity. And this is going to be a pretty quick point A tick for Team 2 as well. And they, unlike ICEE, do have ultimates to try and get the snowball off, and they're already trying to get that approach on the point. Not going to go main. Or perhaps now with the main tank, no, it looks like they're going to go for the same approach that ICEE took to try and negate all that damage coming through with just using the building's line of sight.
And right now, Inhuman just going in there, trying to put through some damage, maybe get an early cheeky kill. Unfortunately, not able to do quite just that. The Coalescence comes through. The Blossom comes through. The Flux comes through. Everything's going through. They're using it all right here, right now, trying to clean up the fight super quick. And that they do. I don't think anybody's even going to be able to respawn in time to try to get over there. The Hammond, maybe, no. Dad's not quite able to make it there yet. He was stopped by a May hanging out there.
I mean, Paul's like, that was an absolute bloodbath on point B. Cleanup in aisle 3. Someone needs to get a bucket because all of ICEE are just swept away in the flood that was Team 2 just popping all of their ultimates. All signs are go and going onto that point and just establishing it as their own.
Yeah, getting super aggressive there with their ultimates. They knew that since it is that 2CP, they had that worry of, okay, well, we were almost able to stall at that point a little bit longer on that side because we had someone who got picked off early, and then, you know, maybe if the kills were a little bit more spread out, maybe they could have been able to hold it for a little bit longer when they were on defense. So they knew that they wanted to hurry up, get in there really quick, so they used all their ultimates. Just press Q is probably what they were all just screaming. Hurry up, get the kills out of the way. And I mean, if everyone dies at roughly the same time, that leaves you with a big opportunity, because if they do all spawn at the same time and maybe there is a little bit more time left, that May was over on the right to provide a wall to stop them from coming in, which is normally, if you're a Hammond, where you come in from, or pretty much anybody, because it's right in front of you. So it's just kind of more a natural thing to do, is just hurry up, walk forward, because I don't know, there's probably some psychology behind it where it's like, oh, hey, well, that thing over to the right is probably farther away. So
well, you heard it here first, folks. Always take the right tool when coming out of that spawn point in Anuba's defense point B.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just gonna throw off your enemy. You know, who expects that? You know, you're capping the point and someone comes from the left. What? That doesn't happen. You know, like, it's just unheard of.
Well, it's not unheard of for Wannabe to be on this Reaper and Nick to be on this May, so both teams sticking with the compositions that we had previously. Tea Time going to be on the Reaper and Anhuman again on this Doomfist. So it's going to be up to Magic Maple to once again get the Sign Barrier online. But I'm looking at these Moiras, raid 45% to the Coalescence. Simplistic lagging behind a little bit. Coalescence was what opened it up for these guys before. So they're going to be looking forward to Surge with that one.
Yeah, and actually getting really close now. They were able to get this first point really quickly here, and you can see actually coming around from behind. Tea Time is going to go and touch the point, possibly. Actually, they're going to teleport right up, but not before Nick and PG1 both get kills. Tea Time able to get that Moira out, though. And I mean, when you're right around here, you know, the spawn advantage is a little bit of the attackers, but I mean, if only one person has to respawn, it's going to be really hard to try to even come back in and get a quick cap.
Yeah, well, do you try and risk losing both of your supports, delegate the Lucio to the ferry? They are actually, so Magic Maple gonna be out of the action for now, so if you are ice hot, this is your opportunity. Raid does have this Coalescence. Pop it immediately and go on. Nope, they lost the window of opportunity. They're not gonna be able to jump onto the team while the supports are away.
Yeah, that would have been a hard one to jump into anyways, because even if you had that Lucio speed boost, to try to get over to that high ground would have taken so long. And speaking of high ground, that's actually right now where Icy Hot is deciding to go. And it looks like they're going to try to get over to the point. Okay, M's just going to hurry up, drop down really quick, you know, take the point as quick as you can over in the corner. But they got that little bit of cover to hide in there. Both Coalescence coming out right now. The wall goes down, try to block off some of that Coalescence damage. Nothing really happening right now except Devil getting tea time here. And right now, Micro's trying to just hurry up and get away from Wannabe. The Blizzard, though, comes out here. That could be pretty big. Dad's down. Everyone's kind of frozen right now. And it looks like the only one that's possibly going to be making out of there is Anhuman, but he's not going to go out without a fight. Gonna hurry up and punch that Arisa into the wall really quick just to say, you know, hey, I've been here.
And you've lost a little bit of time. Well, not a little bit, so much of your time. You had over 3 minutes to come in and try and grab point A, and you haven't even managed to get a tick. You've got 1 minute remaining on the board. Hopefully you're going to be able to have a couple of ultimates to work with, but at the moment the only circle colored in is Anhuman's Doomfist's Meteor Strike, whereas if you're the defenders, you've got the sustain of this Sign Barrier, you've got the supercharges to initiate, and you've got this Flux as well to try and catch someone out.
Yeah, and right now the pull's coming through. They decide to use Bongo and the Flux with the Meteor Strike going around to that Bongo to hurry up and take it out. Pretty safe option unless you're Devil, then you're just going to notice that. Hurry up and take him out. Wannabe now taking out Imp. And I mean, everybody's just going down again on the side of Icy Hot. I don't know they only have about 30 seconds left, but they're coming up on a lot of ultimates here versus what really isn't too much on the side of Team 2. So if they're going to take the point, it's going to be in this next fight.
Team 2 had to throw in a couple of ultimates to be able to keep a hold of that point. They really did want to try and make sure that if ICEE were to try and get any percentage, it would be in this overtime bar. Wannabe is going to have the Staff Blossom, and Simplistic coming up to this Colossus. That's all they're going to have to try and make sure that they sustain through this fight.
Yeah, right now it looks like T-Time just going into that back line, maybe trying to draw out some abilities so that we can use that Blossom, and that he does. He's able to pick up 2. Raid also getting a kill with his Coalescence, but Simplistic answering with a kill over to Micro, but not a large enough answer yet. Only one person actually was able to get taken down there by that Coalescence. They're able to cap this point now, and I mean, ultimate-wise, now there's pretty much only just the Flux for Dad.
Yeah, and that's going to be absolutely huge because Magic 8-Ball doesn't have the sign barrier up, and that's when we're seeing the Sigma Flexes just be completely cancelled out when these Lucios or have these or the Zen indeed have their ults up. And so I thought, do you have this opportunity to try and get some sort of percentage on point B if they can manage to land this Flux?
Yeah, they really need to go for an erasable here to start off. Make sure everybody's as close as they can be right now. And I mean, honestly, they're setting it up for them. Here it comes. The HAWT is out. It's able to get 2 right now, but the Blizzard was actually able to be built up there in time. So now that Arisa's going to get taken down, and so is the Sigma. Your tank line's pretty much just going to be gone here. The Doomfist and Human also being taken out right now. That Blizzard showing huge value to kind of stop all that push. I mean, they were able to get that first point. That second point, not quite.
Not quite indeed. Unfortunately, they just threw a little bit too much into being able to secure point A, but you did manage to get that 1 point. However, it's looking dicey. You do have to defend for, I believe it is 4 minutes. And a little bit, it's going to be 4 minutes 52, so almost 5 minutes. You're going to have to defend this point A, Anubis, that we saw get taken from you so quickly, and then hold on to point B. And not even the whole of point B, just 1 tick of point B, which again, just absolutely fell through your fingers. Like, oops, Butterfingers dropped it on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when it comes down to it, I mean, they're really only the real win condition is holding on first point, because as soon as it goes over that second point, the best you can get is a draw. So they have to make sure they play this pretty well. It looks like right now they still haven't picked characters yet, so they're really thinking to themselves, okay, what do we want to do? Maybe they decide to run this Bastion or something of the sorts, but they're actually going to go with a Pharah, which could be a good pick here unless Wannabe stays on this Widow and actually notices that Pharah and is like, okay, well, I'll answer that. Let me just pop some shots off and try to hit you in the noggin, you know? Who knows?
A pharmacy is usually only as good as the enemy's team is unable to take out your head with a Widow or McCree bullet to essentially just one-shot you. If you can get the Mercy out of the way and then just collapse onto the Pharah when she's vulnerable and not able to be rezzed or pocketed, then that is gonna be 1 dead DPS.
Yeah, it can make it really difficult to push in too, though, if you're playing that far, because if you don't have anything to answer it, then I mean, you're just kind of playing at the will of, okay, well, let's just ignore it and try to get the other 4 because there's not much you can do. But a pause is going to come through real quick here. Not 100% sure why just yet. Someone may have disconnected or something of the sorts. You know, it happens every now and then. You know, maybe someone just has a little bit of a DC, which it looks like that's what happened. Devil, unfortunately, did have a DC. I'm sure that we'll be back in no time, though. Normally, DCs don't last for too long.
Yeah, and if you want to DC, as horrible as it is to happen, the best time to DC is at the very beginning of a fight when you haven't, of a game, when you haven't built up any ultimate charge. And so you don't feel the pain of having an ultimate up as like a Zarya and getting that grab online, only to DC and have not just your ultimate meter reset to 0, but also your charge reset. Like
Yeah,
that's a painful one, Pozak.
Yeah, and I mean, in Overwatch, ultimates are like the big thing. What wins fights when it comes down to it, the majority of the time, is how well you manage your ults. And I mean, ults can really differentiate players with how you use them to see who's really better than the other. And speaking of who's better than the other, don't forget that down below we have an MVP vote. So maybe if you want to hop down there, maybe you see someone you like already, just go ahead and pick someone. Maybe you want to pick T-Time, who's just been getting really fast picks over onto there. Or maybe you want to play Magic 8-Ball, who's had some really good sound barriers to kind of prevent a bunch of damage coming through. The choice is yours.
Yeah, and it's really going to be the deciding factor of who comes away from this map, Temple of Anubis. Up is going to be whether or not Team 2 decide to be as stubborn as we've seen a couple of teams in this league be and not go for the Pharah counters, or if in the 4 minutes 40 that they have to try and get this 1 tick of point B, if we're going to see a DPS come out that isn't a Reaper, a Mayor, or a Doomfist. Pozak, do you think they're going to be swapping anytime soon?
I don't know. I imagine now that they have the DC and some time to think about it, they know the FAR is there. The rocket's already been shot at them. They've been booped back. So, I mean, it's got to be something that's going through their mind right now. Devil now joining back and actually be able to start it up. So I think maybe they want to go back. I don't know what they would want to change out here. They really like the May pick, and the Reaper's super good here. Still, despite the FAR, because he can still just put in so much damage. So, I mean, it's really gonna... I think if you want to get rid of somebody, you're probably going to want to get rid of the May and maybe switch them over to that hit scan, but that's really more of Wannabe's job. So I'm not quite sure what they're going to decide to do here.
Well, Wannabe is still hanging around on this Reaper. The Orisa is back. The Lucio is going to ferry her back on. So we're probably going to be seeing an engagement coming out of this team anytime soon. But in the meantime, Anhuman has just been pouring those rockets and 30% to his ultimate.
Yeah, they're just coming straight through main here, but actually a boop off now. 3 of them separated over onto the low ground now. Not really quite what they want. You want to keep that high ground because that's really what makes the team fight. And falling onto the low ground, Dad's taken out, Raid's taken out, Emma's taken out. Everybody's just starting to go down here. It's a 3v6, but that far Mercy's still up. Psych, it's just the Mercy, and now it's nobody.
Well, pause, like, you do want that high ground, but you also want your team still alive, and sadly, ICEE's wishes will not be granted. We talked earlier that it was really a full whole point aid of Anubis to make sure that you managed to keep this map. But they did fall pretty quickly, and they fell all together. And Anhuman, with all of that rocket damage he's been doing as Team 2 came in through main, is probably going to be able to have this barrage online for when this point approach comes in. But Simplistic does have this coalescence, so the team might just be healed up all the way through it.
Yeah, I mean, with the barrage right now, you're going to want to really make sure that you get high value out of it. And Wannabe actually just going in really quick, super fast. The coalescence coming through the May wall to maybe block up a little bit of damage while they're going forward. They see the FAR getting aggressive, so they know something's going to be happening. But losing that FAR Mercy right there at the start of the fight is not what you want to happen. They have that ultimate, and they got to think now, do we switch over to stall really quick or not? Because, I mean, we have the ultimate, but it looks like right now, nobody else is really getting taken down on the side of ICEE. But now Team Time actually going down. Wannabe also down. That's both the Reapers out. Guess who's back on Human? But he's only going to get the barrage on the Devil right now, and he's getting taken out by Magic 8-Ball. The picture is going back and forth right now. A Blizzard coming out after that sound barrier. M stuck on the point, frozen. Not much he can do about that one. Micro also frozen now. Everybody now getting taken out. The Death Blossom, just a little bit of hope coming through. Is able to get out both supports. But the Flux is able to stop this Doomfist from doing any harmful damage. The Sigma now coming out of the right. He's not going to be fast enough to get to the point. There's even a wall in his way, and he's not going to be able to do anything about that. That's another victory for Team 2.
That is another victory for Team 2. ICEE tried to run this pharmacy, but unfortunately, what Team 2 do is they just completely ignore it. They don't swap to the Pharaoh counters. They collapse onto the rest of the team who were on that really favorable high ground and then just got absolutely chaotically booped off. We're left a little bit scratching their heads in spawn as they wondered how exactly they got from high to low. And then again scratching their heads after they wondered how exactly they lost point B Anubis that quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, they got that first one so fast that it was going to be a really tough task to try to stop them from capping the whole thing, or the whole first tick going into that second point. And I think what really kind of made that difficult was they were all kind of grouped up on the side of Team 2 at one point over on the left, and the FAR was looking for an opening, but the Mercy was just a little too far out, so they were able to pick them off really quick, and then the FAR following in suit. So now it's made it really difficult. You didn't have a Mercy to pocket that far now when they were coming back out to try to get the stall through. Only get 1 kill with the barrage. So, you know, I mean, when you really look at it, that FAR Mercy was going to be that win factor.
Yeah, barrage is a really hard ultimate to land, especially if you're trying to land it into a Sigma and an Orisa, so you do kind of have to commit 100% on the approach, then press Q, trust in your supports, and hope that you get a pick, because if you kind of dilly and dally, then that Sigma shield is going to be coming out straight into your face when those rockets get unleashed.
Yeah, and I mean, that can be super dangerous. You can just completely kill yourself with the ultimate, which is something, you know, you're always scared of. And I mean, the Sigma can throw a rock up at you, or he can just kind of use his kinetic grasp and possibly eat a lot of it, depending on how spread out your rockets are based on where he is and the rest of his team. So the Sigma can be a really, I mean, not a, I would say a direct counter to Pharah, but he can definitely make it more difficult to play Pharah.
Yeah, he's a real pain. Is what he is. Sigma is a real pain to quite a lot of heroes, with that rock ability being able to cancel out so many ultimates. Moira's especially, when you're locked into that coalescence and you don't have your fade up and available, and you see a rock coming into your face, you just say, okay, goodbye ultimate.
Oh man, it's the worst feeling and the best feeling. It just kind of depends on what side you're on. But speaking of sides, right now they're picking the map side because Eichenwald was actually picked to be our next map. It looks like Team 2 is going to start off here on the defense. Always something that I think teams always. So I always think it's harder to start on the defense because then it really kind of sets the tone for the rest of the match going into the next round or one or more.
See, I like to start on the attack because, and here's why: it can, if it goes really well and you absolutely roll the team and get like the 3 points in really quick succession, then the mind games start to play, poor Zach.
Yeah.
You have this kind of war on the psyche of your enemy, because if you pick up that really quick 3 points, then they start to feel that they have to pick it up in an even faster time. And if they don't quite manage that, or if an attack isn't looking so hot, or they kind of stumble a little bit on point A, then already that their optimism starts to fade and nerves set in just a little bit more, and mistakes just start opening up fights for your enemy just here and there, where you can really capitalize on these small little things, these little errors that just make you so much weaker.
Yeah, but I think a lot of that depends on how confident you feel going in the attack. I mean, of course, every team goes in thinking, oh, we got this. We're just going to destroy them, blah, 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 blah. You know, they feel confident. That you should always feel confident going into the match. But where do you draw the line between confidence and cockiness? You know, I mean, you can think, you know, it'd be nice to hurry up and get that complete 3 points captured with time to spare, you know? But that's a tall order, especially here on Eichenwald. So, I mean, where it could be good if you're maybe like super versed on a map, like who knows? I mean, they could have an absolute great time here for ICEE HAWT to just kind of go in and get all the way up to the 3rd point and still have like 2 minutes on the clock. That'd be amazing for either team, but the ability of that happening is very slim.
Yeah, well, Unhuman is actually going to be running on this Pharah once again, so ICEE HAWT going to be fielding a pharmacy. Maybe they saw that Team 2 didn't actually swap to a Pharah counter, and so think that they can find some sort of better value on this Eichenwald attack.
Yeah, and I mean, especially Eichenwald here, I think it's also a very good map for the Pharah because you can just keep playing around all these high buildings, and you have a lot of natural cover from the map, so I think it also feels very good to play Pharah on this.
And we're going to see tea time a little bit on an unusual pick currently in this matter on the Widowmaker, so going to be looking for the snipes from afar. If she can get an opening pick for her team, that is going to be an absolute green light for ICEE HAWT to move in, but it's Raid who goes down first, and that is the absolute opposite of what you want to see.
Yeah, now all of Team 2 following suit, like, okay, one of our teammates got a kill, let's all do it now. But Inhuman's going to be able to take out Wannabe really quick there. So maybe they're going to have a little bit of time to engage more. I mean, Wannabe can get to the point back pretty fast. He's got a little bit of a teleport and Wraith ability that gives him a little bit of a speed boost. So maybe he gets there in time, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, and Human is just trying to build up this barrage and has been building it up like an absolute madman. 84%, that's going to definitely be the first ultimate up on the board, probably even before Simplistic manages to get this Coalescence.
Yeah, I mean, the barrage coming through right now, they don't really have much to answer. You're going to really be relying on the Sigma shield here, or maybe the Coalescence to try to take out the Mercy before they're going to be able to do that. But right now, they see that Pharah is playing super aggressive right above them, so they know something's probably up.
Coalescence gets popped early, but Unhuman is going for that flank. Coalescence immediately in the Pharah's face.
Yeah, just trying to pressure down that far to make sure nothing too cheeky is going to be going on there, and they're not going to be pushing up and, you know, hitting with that barrage. But I mean, if you're going to get the nano, you might as well just hurry up and throw out that barrage, but it's not going to do much except get Devil. And Devil's already gotten tea time, and speaking of other people getting taken out, now that Human's taken out, Raid and Micro follows in the same way. Want to be actually able to pick up, I think, a 3K there. Very good by him. PG taking out Dad really quick there, and now they got to go back with about 2 minutes shaved off the time bank. The only real switch coming out here is going to be tea time over into the McCree.
Yeah, but you do have a sort of silver lining. You managed to spook the Lucio enough to part with that sign barrier, so all eyes are going to be on the Sigma of Dad to see whether he can land this flux, because it really is going to tip things in this team fight. But we do see that Nick is coming up to this Blizzard and PG, the Sigma flux of his own, and I thought they're not running any support that can answer that damage that's going to be coming in with this Mercy and this Ana.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game to play when you decide to go with an Ana over that, but when you have them far Mercy, you kind of have to go that to make sure you get enough heals going through. And the Flux comes up, doesn't look like it's able to actually to catch anybody, but the Blizzard's going to follow that. Emph already using his gold there is going to get frozen actually, and now 3 people already down on the side of ICEE HAWT. They're going to decide to back up really quick and just kind of, you know, regain their footing. But I mean, with probably only about 1, maybe 2 more fights, 2 more good fights going in, they're going to have a hard time with all these ultimates on the side too.
Yeah, I thought they just kind of, again, dilly and dally. I really wanted to see them trying to open this up with Dad popping the Sigma ultimate before PG, because you do run this risk. Magic Maple is getting closer and closer to the sign barrier, and you have to get that Flux coming out before the Lucio hits his ultimate.
Yeah, and I mean, they got the barrage coming back again here. The bomb goes out. They're really going to only have that Blossom and that Coalescence try to answer for anything. And I mean, a few ults are going to be coming here on the side of ICEE HAWT. They're just slowly taking their engage, waiting for them to build up their ults or waiting for a good opening. And I mean, right now with all this damage coming through, I think that's where they're going to find their opening. But answer with a quick Coalescence. The Flux also comes through, but not before Wannabe is going to be able to pick up 2 with that Blossom. Now a third one over onto Raid. You're going to have to be really careful there. Wannabe gets taken out by Emph there. But I mean, with how many people are already down, it's going to be really hard to turn this one around. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're playing. It's going to be really difficult to do anything with that. The Pharah is really going to be the only one to make it out of it.
Well, they do have 3 soon-to-be 4 ultimates when this Mercury manages to get the Deadeye online. And if you're Team 2, you do only have this Lucio ult. Dad did manage to pop the Sigma Flux, but he doesn't find anything for it, and the Lucio doesn't even need to put the Sign Barrier in, so you do have a little bit of sustain. But if you're Ice Hot, this is your final opportunity. You have to find the eliminations.
Yeah, I think they're watching for the Nano because they know last time the Nano came through that they used the Barrage, and they actually used that as a mind game. They're going to save the Barrage a little bit. The shield not quite making it up to the far, but still getting taken down by the damage that's able to go through that shield on the side of ICEE HAWT. But the Bongo down still. Picks kind of going both ways right now. Not a quite definite win on either side. But with everyone getting a little bit low there, they're not able to do anything to the enemy Orisa because of that high noon. Kind of zoning them away. Right now, Nick just getting stuck on that other side of the barrier. Both other tanks that weren't on the point at the time and died come back as him and T-Time taking out PG1 right now. And it looks like Dad's just going to be rolling around the point there, trying to knock off as many people as they can. And I think now the Blizzard's actually going to come out here. I didn't expect many ultimates to go through, but I think this is going to be what changes it up for them. They use the Blizzard on the point, no one's able to get on.
Dad is actually frozen, so that poor hamster can see that overtime bar ticking down, and he's not on that point to touch it when it finishes. They looked as if they'd found the answer when they were managing to traipse in the really nice mind game, coming in with put the Nano onto the Pharah, hope that it shows that the enemies they're gonna think that the barrage is coming out immediately afterwards, and then hold off on it and put it in at a later date. But unfortunately, that Blizzard really did bail Team 2 out of defending anything past point A.
Yeah, and now, I mean, I don't know. They weren't even able to quite get a tick, so the best they're looking for here is just like how they were when they were able to get to the second point, round 4 on Anubis there. The best they're looking for is a draw. They can't really do much besides that. And even then, when it does come down to the draw, if they're able to do that, the map pick is gonna again go in their favor, but it's not gonna really be too I think scary on the side of Team 2 because they know that they've just been super confident in all these maps.
Yeah, IceHop must be feeling pretty bad right now because you have had the map pick and you still haven't been able to find the victory on the map that you picked, and so it's a huge confidence booster on the side of Team 2, but a huge confidence debooster on the Drainer on the side of IceHot, and they're going to be running Anhuman on this Pharah. Once again, T-Time going to be swapping onto the Junkrat. Is Wannabe going to be sticking with this Widow? Have they read that this pharmacy is going to be in play once more?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty easy read when you really think about it. I mean, they've been playing the Pharah so much, they're going to hurry up and go through the doors. But right now, with the Ryan Zarya and they're playing the Mei, I imagine the goal here is to hurry up and wall off whoever's waiting there at the tower and just try to hurry up and make it all the way over to the point, because they only need that one tick. So bring that fight over to the point, and that's where they want to be. With that Ryan Zarya, you want to be close.
Yeah, and the Zarya is going to be putting down so much damage as well, but you do have to get up close and personal for that to happen. T-Time falling so low already, though.
Yeah, he's super low right now, and Dad was actually frozen there. Want to be able to get that pick off on the T-Time finally there. Now it just looks like it's 5v6. They're just walking their way up there. You know, with the Ryan Zarya, they got to be close to really put in that damage. And that Ryan's actually going to go in and charge. Devil gets Dad off the pin onto the Orisa while they were golden. And it looks like all the kills right now are just going in the side of Team 2. They're just making sure they're just cleaning up, you know, one by one. Next. And right now it's just the Tracer on point. T-Time doing whatever they can to try to stall it a little bit longer, but the wall actually came up to prevent them and made them have to go around from the side. That's Team 2 picking up yet another map and now picking up the victory overall.
So looking much more dominant are Team 2 in their victory. A lot more of a callback to that first map in Nepal is that particular Eichenwald. especially on the attack when they're coming in, and ICEE are on the defense, and they just get picked apart one by one. Having this pharmacy, yes, you do put in quite a lot of damage over the top, but it also means that you force Micro to be on that Mercy, which takes away a huge source of your support for your tank lineup, which gives a little bit of an advantage to Team 2, and they capitalize on it.
Yeah, and I mean, they did a really good job there. I think when it really just came to it, I think the whole time they probably just had better focus fire. And going up even on that last point, they kind of realized that they weren't really peeking out, so they didn't have to use walls. So now they have that as a little bit extra of a blockade going in once they get onto that point to really separate the teams, which you kind of saw there, separating that Ana and the Orisa from the rest of the team. So they were able to go in on those 4 and take them out really quick.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a completely opposite side of the coin to what I've been seeing in previous matches, where the pharmacy has really tipped it in favor of a team. The pharmacy is a sort of shooting of their own foot for ICEE.
Yeah, and I mean, the pharmacy, I feel like they can run it, and I think they can run it well. The issue is that Team 2 is just so ready for it. They just kind of know what to expect when it comes to pharmacy, so it's obvious that they probably had a little bit of time to go up against stuff like that.
Pharahs play in very specific ways, and when you get up to the level that these guys are playing, it becomes very easy to sort of recognize when the Pharah wants to barrage, when she wants to go aggressively, which does allow a little bit of an opportunity for you to just try and get her out of the sky for her aggression.
Yeah, and speaking of opportunities, now's your chance. The match is over, but you can still vote for your MVP down below. And speaking about MVPs, we actually have a player from the match with us. I believe it's Devil. We have Devil with us, right?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Devil? How you doing today, man? I assume you're doing pretty well after that win.
Yeah, man, it was definitely a fun one. I can say that.
Yeah. I mean, was there any time really where you were going up against it and they threw that curveball, maybe that Far Mercy?
Actually, no. We actually scrimmed Farrah Mercy a lot in scrims and kind of know exactly what to do against it. So it's something we practiced for like a while. So it didn't really throw us for a loop. We just sent it down main, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
You guys looked pretty good with it. I mean, when they were coming at you guys with it, you didn't really pay too much attention to it, but you still gave it a little bit of acknowledgement knowing it was there and really focusing more on the other 4 players. I think you guys did a really good job with that. And I mean, that first point on Nepal, can we talk about that a little bit? What was, were you guys scared when you saw that Hammond coming out, and were you a little bit worried of playing kind of towards an edge?
Again, like during scrims, we usually scrim against teams who play ball into the map. Ball is super popular in scrims for that, but it's kind of like the Pharah in a way as well, where it's like you kind of ignore the ball, but you also have to acknowledge that he is there, and we are just ready for him. But we do play the match like it's a 6v5 in most cases.
And you know, you guys seemed like you were just, when it came down to it, you guys just probably had better. It looked like you guys had better focus fire. I mean, who's really making the calls during that? Is it a team collaboration? Is it really a 1 or 2 man job deciding who's going to be going down in the next fight?
It's usually me who's like calling targets mid-fight, and then it's more like a team collaboration of like how we want to engage. Like, okay, what ults do we want to use? Or do you want to play slow? Do you want to play fast? But usually during like the brawl phase, I usually call like what target we're usually focusing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good for the Orisa. I imagine you have to, as an Orisa, I imagine you have to do that a lot because you have that HAWT, which really kind of, you know, makes it able to have your teammates go in, whether it's the Doomfist or whatever, to really engage and get through that damage. When it came down to it, facing these guys, you know, what's something you think that you're probably going to be able to take away from this match and maybe go on in the lower bracket to take to the next one?
I would say something is like different comps, like practicing against different comps, because usually in scrims it's usually like Reaper May or Doom Reaper, and I think some of these other teams in the lower bracket, I think they might try like something different, you know, something that's not meta, that's something we might not be used to, like maybe like a Bastion or a BAP or any sort of like combination like that we're not used to playing against, that could throw us off.
Yeah, one of those really hard bunkers. And talking about like all these different team compositions, I mean, we saw pretty much just meta play today, but do you guys maybe have a little bit of that off meta, something maybe up your sleeve that you're getting ready for? Of course, you don't have to give us any details, just a simple yes or no will work.
Definitely, yes, definitely. When our map comes, you'll know. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Gonna be a little exciting. Make sure you guys watch Team 2 going forward in their matches. That's really it for questions for me. Moxie, you got any questions while Devil's here?
I mean, the Ryan Zarya play that we saw on your attack on Iconvolt, was that a kind of team decision, or was one person wanting the Ryan?
It was pretty much like me. He's like, yeah, let's just go Ryan. Fuck him, you know. We at that point of the match, we kind of knew it was in the back, so it's like, you know, let's end it with a bang, end it quick. You know, just run over them. You know, play it
So
fast.
can I take it that you prefer playing Ryan over Orisa? Have you kind of been locked in the equivalent of
I mean,
break
you can ask
prison?
you can ask any Ursa player that question, and you'll get the same answer, 100%. So, I think that answers it.
So do you think, because we've seen a lot of nerfs coming through this week with this new patch, and Orisa has actually been hit with one specific one of her shield cooldown being now increased to 10 seconds. Do you think that's gonna make her any less viable than she currently is?
Nope, she will still remain super viable. The only thing different that's gonna change with this patch is the tempo of the engagement, because since the shield is on a 1 second cooldown now, it's gonna you have to wait until your shield's up to either hard engage or hard like disengage. You know what I mean? It's like with a faster cooldown, the tempo changes a lot, but with like slower cooldowns, it kind of is like at standstill.
So in your opinion, and I'm wanting to probably get back to the Reinhardt, what is gonna force this double shield barrier out of the meta? Like, what does Blizzard have to hit like specific heroes with?
I think Soldier is in a bad place. He doesn't really get much value. I think it's just a general, like a buff to most, like most fucking hit scans. You know, like Soldier. McCree's, he's decent, but he's still in the same place as Soldier, where all he's doing the entire match is just shooting shields, not getting really any values with the ults. You know, because like, oh, high noon, you just put a Sigma shield in front of him, or like a Sigma left shift. You know what I mean? It's just like like half of the DPS that are available aren't really viable in double shield meta.
It does kind of feel like if you pick Soldier in this meta, you are not throwing the game, but sort of getting there halfway, definitely letting the enemy team have an advantage.
Yeah.
Well, that definitely concludes my curiosity, poor Zach.
Well, hey, Devil, you know, thanks you so much for coming in here and being part of this. You know, a little bit of an interview afterwards always, I think, is fun for at least the casters. You personally, I mean, that's up to you. I mean, if you have fun with it, you know. But we really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, guys.
All right, you have a good one.
All right, have a good night. Peace.
You too.
All right. And with that being said, I mean, we were talking about there at the end, you two were conversing about how the Sigma will kind of stop Soldier from being able to do anything. And Sigma player is actually going to be what tonight's MVP is all about. On the side of ICEE HAWT, we had Dad getting that viewer MVP. And I mean, playing a Sigma is such a high skill cap hero. And I mean, well, he does seem meta, and it's just kind of like, oh, well, you just put your shield up when the Orisha shield's down, or use your kinetic grasp. I mean, you really have to coordinate it, you know, and I think that Dad was really pulling out that job there. And I think that when he used the flux, he was always waiting for that halt. So he was really good at holding off on when to use his abilities and just making sure that he can get the most value out of them. Unfortunately, that's not going to be able to net them the win tonight. But I'm sure that going forward, and maybe the next All-Stars Brawl, can certainly maybe build upon that, or just keep it the way it is and make sure that he can win.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a commiseration trophy that he'll be taking out as this team unfortunately does drop out. Lost the losers bracket, no third chances. This was the doors of the second chance saloon closing shut, but it will be Team 2 moving forward. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing what exactly these guys are going to throw at us next. They have teased that they've got something up their sleeve for Zach, and I am excited to find out what it is.
Yeah, it's hard to not be excited to find out what something is. I mean, whenever it doesn't matter what meta it is, it's always played, so it starts to get really stale really fast. So whenever you see variations, you know, you absolutely love seeing them.
Yeah, maybe not so much the hamster Orisa on first point. The path didn't quite work out. Probably would have been better going in with that Sigma Orisa, but it's always nice to see some sort of deviation from what we do commonly see.
Yeah, and speaking of deviation, something you may not commonly see, we're actually going to be next after this is over, going to be doing an Overwatch All-Stars trials at about, I think, 10 EST is when it's going to start. So that means right now we're actually going to bring a close to this live stream. And of course, if you enjoyed anything you saw here, be sure to follow. Don't forget, you also can subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter, you know, just really kind of show your support for this tier 3 community. You know, I've been Poor Zach, your play-by-play caster. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, all at Poor Zach. You know, not much deviation there. But also co-caster, I'm sure you can find her.
Yeah, you can definitely come stalk me on Twitter. You can find me at GotMoxie. That's GotMoxie with 2 T's, because unfortunately someone else had the name for Zach, so I do have to deviate.
Well, I got a couple numbers in my name on Twitter too. It's a pretty good name. What can I say? I have good ideas, and apparently someone else had a good idea. You know what happened?
Originality is dead. It's
Yeah.
2019, people. You're never gonna find something that someone hasn't already had. Well, that's gonna be it. But for my time, my bed is most definitely calling me over here in Scotland at 2 a.m. So I'm gonna say good night, because like always lovely to cast with you.
Vice versa. I mean, you know, I think we had a great time, and I think hopefully you, the viewers at home, also had a great time, and hopefully you also have a good night.